Jeff McLane covering the Eagles for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He joins us now. I know we tend to focus on the negative here, Jeff, instead of the Chiefs and Andy Reid. I guess what I was surprised at was the Eagles making mistakes, taking sacks, and we didn't see that high-potent, high-powered offense. Where was that last night?
Well, we didn't see it for pretty much all of the four quarters. I mean, I think the run game worked pretty well. LaShawn McCoy ran for 150 yards and even had to leave for a period there and still managed to get that amount of ground. But the passing game was really what the problem was. And it seemed like the Chiefs figured out a template for stopping Chip Kelly's offense. They want man defense in the secondary, and that really hurt Michael Vick in terms of finding open receivers. I mean, right now, Deshaun Jackson is really the only receiver, and if you're going to throw the tight ends in there too, that can get open against man coverage. And what the Chiefs did was they just had a safety over top on Deshaun, double-teamed him, and then that forced guys like Jason Avant and Riley Cooper, Brent Selleck, who aren't really especially fast, to be the guys to get open, and they couldn't get open. I mean, the fact that Jeremy Maclin injured himself early in training camp is now, I think, starting to hurt the Eagles offense.
But how patient are fans going to be in Philadelphia with this? The expectation level, I don't think should have been that high as far as win total, but I think excitement level, I think that's where it was through the roof.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you look, if you take a step back, the fact that the Eagles are 1-2 shouldn't be much of a surprise. But the first game and the way in which the offense looked against the Redskins had people changing their expectations for this team. And really, I mean, when you look at it objectively, Chip Kelly is still changing. I mean, so much. This is not only has he changed the culture at the Eagles, he's also changed the scheme on offense, on defense. They're now a 3-4 up front, and it's going to take a while. And I think people need to adjust their expectations for this team.
Andy Reid coming to town, and you have Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb. Which person will the Eagles fans miss more as far as coaching or playing? McNabb at QB or Andy Reid coaching?
Wow, that's a good question. Toss up, I guess. Andy, won 140 games here in Philadelphia, the winningest coach in franchise history. And I think a lot of people saw that maybe he had a lot more to do with the success of the team for 10 years than Donovan McNabb. When Donovan left and went to Washington, you saw his play slip. So I would say probably Andy more than Donovan. But I mean, judging by the reaction during the game, Eagles fans gave both the proper due, and I think that they both realized that while they didn't bring them a Super Bowl, they did bring them their longest period of sustained success.
But I think Donovan McNabb is sort of the quarterbacking version of Patrick Ewing. I think the further we get away from his career, the more Eagle fans will look back and say, you know what? We're pretty lucky. We had a pretty consistent quarterback there and then by comparison, looking at Vic and maybe some of these other quarterbacks, they might miss him a little bit more.
Well, it ended pretty badly here in Philadelphia, and then they ultimately traded him that Easter Sunday in 2010. But he was consistent for a long period there, 6 NFC championships, went to 1 Super Bowl. So, 5 NFC championships. So Donovan, people forget how good he was for so long. But at the end there, I think they just got tired of how, they just couldn't get over the hump. But looking back upon it, I mean, even those 10, 11-win seasons were pretty good compared to what they've had to go through for the last 3 years.
Vic is the big question mark for me with this offense. I think that Chip Kelly will be successful, but I still look at this and see if his success is tied to Michael Vick. I don't know. I guess the elephant in the room is he still the right quarterback for this offense?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're only 3 games in. He played well in the first 2 games, but took a major step back last night. And I think that's what we're going to see probably for the rest of the season. He'll have his moments where he's good, and you think that he's the perfect quarterback for this offense, and then there'll be moments when he's inconsistent, and you realize that there's a reason why he's pretty much on his fifth offense. And, while the Eagles only brought him back for a one-year deal. At some point, though, Chip Kelly's got to make a decision if they keep playing this way. Do you go to Nick Foles and try and see what you have there, and maybe even Matt Barkley? But I still think that Chip will get his quarterback in next year's draft, the guy that he thinks really can be the perfect instrument for running this offense.
Really?
And there are a number of I think his boy in Oregon certainly will be a guy. He still talks about him in press conferences. So he still has affinity for Mariota, and then there's other guys out there. Brett Hundley, UCLA, certainly would be a guy I think they'll look at. I really do think that they're.
Don't they have enough quarterbacks, Jeff?
Well, Vic's got only a one-year deal, so they can easily let him go, and then you draft a quarterback, and you got three. You got Foles, and Foles was a third-round pick. They don't owe him much in terms of the commitment in terms of dollars, and the same goes for Matt Barkley, as a fourth-round pick. So they still have the opportunity, if they want, to draft a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, I think that's the direction they're headed in as well. Jeff, thanks, and have fun with the Denver Broncos coming up.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, Jeff McLane. He covers the Eagles for the Philadelphia Inquirer.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.